going into the holiday season, and sadly, there's more suicides during this time of year. We talked about veering off of the path. Mm-hmm. Well, holidays really point out if there are things not going right in your life, it is the time you're going to see it. If you're struggling with money, you're not going to be able to afford the food for dinners. If it is you split up with your partner,
or someone passed away around that time of life,
you're going to miss that person. If you can't have your kids with you, you're going to miss your kids. If you have a substance abuse problem, those feelings are going to compound that. Yep. There are so many things that it's supposed to be such a wonderful time, but if your life doesn't match up with the image that you had, it's going to be a really hard time. And so for anybody that is going to struggle with that, people care.
People do care. Like, and I don't know how many times I've said this, and we've said it on here, is like, seriously, I would love for someone to reach out if they needed just to chat, even a text or something, you know, like just because I know it's hard to find someone to really talk to sometimes. Welcome back to Just Weirdly Blended. I should have started singing. I'm Jesse.
I'm Tom.
And it's Just Weirdly Blended.
There is a song, Welcome Back. Isn't it Welcome Back, Carter, or whatever? The old sitcom show from like the 70s.
I think so.
Welcome back.
Oh,
hey. Got your ticket out.
yeah. Yep. See, Tom, you could have been in a musical. Oh, we were just talking before we shot this out. We were talking about musicals and how I just really...
How wonderful.
I haven't watched a musical that I'm like, this is the one.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Disney movie cartoons are fucking musicals.
They are.
But it's a cartoon.
Different. It's a cartoon that's a whole different part of your brain that's processing it. So I was watching
West Side Story, and it was the newer one because I'm not going to...
That's your first mistake.
I'm not going to watch the old one either just because it's just terrible. But Tom brought up a point that made me laugh because it's exactly what I thought of about these gangsters. All of a sudden, they're like...
They're a street gang, right?
They're the like, Jets.
They're mean and they would stab people and they're murderers.
Yeah, they were like, let's go, Jets.
Drug dealers, but we're
coming out.
Snapping at each other. Like,
they're like, Rodrigo, oh, you did not just do that. I'm like, what the heck? It's so...
Come on, guys. Like, I mean, I can suspend my disbelief for so long, but
then like, I'll get past this. It's a musical, and then all of a sudden, like you were saying, they dance on cars on this too, and they're like kicking stuff, and they're like,
see, that's the most gangsta thing because like that would piss me off so bad. And like, I can think of little street gang kids like just stepping on my car and be like, "Fuck you, dude!" But no, they got to do some kind of
they do this snappy
with it. You're like,
they did do the snap too. They were just like.
Yeah, and aren't they like circling each other? Like
there's one where they're like in this building and then they're like facing out. I couldn't pay attention to it. I was at first, like Alicia's like, we watched a movie, and then after that, we were like, well, let's watch another one. Let's see what else. And I go, yeah, JJ wanted to watch Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah, good. That's a good one.
Yeah,
and that's a musical, but it fits.
It fits because it's cartoon animated.
They're different. Fake people to begin with, so they all know the lyrics. It's not weird.
It's not weird.
When human beings just randomly all know the same words to sing together to the same rhythm.
And then, I'm like watching it, and I'm like, okay, it's a pretty racist movie, which I'm guessing, it's like, this is, I think that's the point, it's bringing up racial and social injustice or whatever. Cause,
I don't remember.
Well, no, because the Jets are this group of, like, ghetto Latino, white boys.
Oh, okay.
And then they're going against, I don't know what the Puerto Rican guys are named.
Yeah, that's right.
But then
the Sharks, I don't know.
Something like that. It's probably Sharks sounds good. Because they're in Puerto Rico and there's an ocean, so Sharks, I guess.
It's logical sense.
Yeah, logically I can see that. But like, obviously they hate the Puerto Ricans. They need to get out of here. They have babies everywhere. They're going to take over pretty soon. The cops saying this and then, of course, it's just like Romeo and Juliet. There's one guy that's kind of like, hey, and I can't blame him. I can't fault him.
It's a white boy that likes the
Latina chick.
Yeah, of course.
He's seen her swinging that thing, and he was just like, all of a sudden, he was like, Maria, Maria. He's like singing.
Maria, Maria.
You remind me of a West Side Story. I know. He's all growing up
in Spanish Harlem.
I know. I'm like, wait, rewind this. Wait a minute. Saying this. It should have. But yeah, her name was Maria.
Yeah.
Maria. I think it was Maria.
It's Maria. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then I'm just like, look at this guy. Man, he got himself a little taste and he can't get over it. He's singing. I told him, like, I was telling Lisa. And then, but the whole time I'm trying to be serious because I know she wanted to watch this movie.
You're a better man than me.
And I was like,
I cannot help but make fun of stuff.
And I was like laughing and I'm like smiling. And then I just go, God, this movie sucks.
Now, how did she feel about it? Did she actually like it?
Oh, no, this movie's trash. She hated it. Yeah, no, she hated it. Just
we saw the one.
We
from
both
like
hated it so much that we left it. Playing, but we never paid attention. Like I would look over at it, and I was just like, Jesus. So I got on my phone.
Just awkward,
I was texting you when we were watching it, and I was like smirking. Of course, I had a special cookie earlier. So I was already like, I wasn't like stoned or nothing, but I was still in my system a little.
Good.
I was feeling good. I was just relaxing and chilling, and God, I had the giggles from it just from watching. I think I would have had that reaction regardless because it's just so cheesy.
I hear you, Blanca. I will admit I like it when Blanca watches those stupid girl Christmas movies.
I don't mind those.
I don't mean that like stupid girl. I mean like stupid
chick flick movies.
Girl Christmas movies.
I got you.
And Netflix has picked up on that. Like that's a huge audience. People that
they're all over Netflix.
Very
right now.
simply written movies. So there was one yesterday. I don't remember the name of it, but Junior. What was that guy's name? Freddie Prinze Jr. was the actor in it, which I haven't seen him in years.
Was it a newer?
Yeah, I think
he's all gray haired and shit.
I mean, he looks older now. I mean, he looks great for his age and all that. He's an actor, but haven't seen him in forever.
No, he hasn't really been in.
So here he is, like, he's a music teacher and the celebrity singer, pop singer,
of course,
lands in his town, and somehow I didn't see the beginning of it, but I was watching it, and I can't help but make jokes as the movie's going.
I usually do.
So I don't know. I was joking, and that got her laughing, but she was enjoying it. And there's something about those movies, as stupid as they are. I would never turn one on by myself. Don't get me wrong.
So they're terrible, but they're
having
good.
her watch it, like, I like to sit down and be a part of that whole thing, and I make my jokes, and she laughs and calls me stupid, and but they're pretty horrible movies. Like, I mean, there's only going to be so much of a plot twist in any of these.
Well, we watched one, and she loves those movies, but she will admit they could be terrible.
They literally take a script and just flip out.
Which we've talked about.
Yeah, and we have. Like, you could just cut and paste names into the same script.
We just watched one with Lindsay Lohan. It was so bad. Of it. It was so bad. It was
it like on purpose bad or just?
It was just bad. Like the guy at the stud, like, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't studly to me. I was not feeling him.
I feel like you could make a great comedy movie out of one of these.
It was so dumb. It was. It's like, I can't. She had amnesia. She doesn't remember who she was, but she was some
50
rich.
First Dates, right?
Yeah, she was some rich chick and some socialite, I think, or something. But
she didn't remember.
Yeah, because she had
kidnapped her. And
He somehow, rescued her, but he was very gentlemanlike. He never tried to take advantage, and so she was like falling for him. But then she realized he has a man. Of course,
he has a man.
She does. She was already engaged.
Wow, that's a plot twist I didn't see coming.
Plot twist.
He's actually gay.
He's gay.
It's not going anywhere. And it's her own little internal torment.
That'd be a good one,
That would be a good one. See, that they need to start throwing in some of those elements.
I don't know if that would vibe well, though, with today's society. I mean, it could.
They started getting some, like, LGBTQ stories out there.
Well, yeah, but I don't think, like, in that sense, I think they would, I don't know. We seen one with, I don't remember the name of the movie, but it was good. It was like I think it was with guys or something. It was like a different sets of stories.
Oh, okay.
It's like, I forget what the movie's called. There's one movie where it's like that, where it's like all these different stories, but somehow they're intertwisted together.
End up connecting. Yeah,
something like that. But one movie we watched that I didn't even know you guys watched was that Slumberland.
Yeah. I wrote that note down. Yeah, Slumberland we watched last night with the kids. Blanca tries to get the kids to come out and be a part of something family oriented. Elena's at that age, she would just stay in a room forever if she could.
We
got her up, and Elliot was up, and he actually like was totally enthralled in the movie. He paid perfect attention. Elena, I mean, she paid attention, and for a while she kind of had her back to us, kind of looking over her shoulder, but I think she liked it. She's just kind of quiet about it.
Yeah. I thought it was actually a good movie.
Oh, it was a great movie.
Jason Momoa, if you guys know who he is, if you've lived under a rock.
If you've ever heard of him,
he's very,
little known actor, Jason Momoa.
Yeah, girls seem to like the guy.
Yeah, he's hideous.
Alicia is one of them. She finds me, attractive, which he's a very attractive man. Yeah. He's a manly man, though.
He is.
But he's also like a good
sense of humor.
He has like a really
he's not a dick about it. So
I've heard stories about him. Side note is like he'll take pictures with people. But he'll like make him goofy on purpose for him. Like, if it's the girl, there's one where he's like pushing the guy away and taking a picture with the girl, It's very funny, very
he seems very down to earth for an actor.
But he did this thing that Alicia's like, ew. He would like mess with his belly button and then he'd smell it. Did you notice that in the movie? He'd be talking and all of a sudden he'd like put his finger in his belly button and he'd be like
there was a scene where
it was so funny.
He had like the front of his shoes cut off.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell at first if it was just dirt on his shoe.
I thought it was like fuzz.
But he had that moment where he made his toenails click the ground.
That was his feet.
So it's his feet. And he's got like wolf toes or something.
Oh, well, he did have horns.
So yeah, he had like goat horns.
Yeah,
he was a funny character. So.
But what I really liked about it is how they kind of like how you deal with loss, I guess, or how you deal with emotion,
right?
And how you like kind of go past that. I thought that aspect of the movie, it was kind of cool the way they brought that in to make it like kid friendly.
Yeah,
to how to
absolutely
that you have to face your demons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and the whole idea, because that
concept, I thought that concept was really cool.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard of it, it's on Netflix. It's definitely worth watching. Yeah, and it's really about dreams. And but they take an interesting take on dreams instead of it being our brain kind of working through something. Yeah. It's like this. It's like group is like creating the dreams for you to work through things. Yeah. But that's really what dreams are. So it's kind of like you said, a kid friendly way to.
Yeah, because she was show alone, and she had to face her fears of do you want to sleep forever,
right,
or do you want to live your life and do something with it, And so I thought that was really cool in that sense. I was like, that's cool that way they brought that in there, and some of obviously there were some cheesy moments.
Sure, but it wasn't overly cheesy.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, thought it was really like.
JJ seemed very involved, and there was like for me, there's a couple things that like I'm like, oh, get you like at least for me like not choked up, but like you're like
empathize with it.
That's kind of sad, you're like,
yeah.
And then like JJ was crying, but it's like we're like, no, I was happy. She got to see her dad. Like those moments where it cuts and she gets spoiler. But there's those moments where it's like those moments like Alicia like. She's a sucker for those ones. So those, those videos where the military parent comes home.
Yeah, right.
It's just like that, and all
shocks the kid because the
kid's like, oh,
Yeah.
So that was me when I met my dad. No, I'm just kidding. He's home, Dad. 30 years later.
You said you were going to the store.
I know. My mom says you were a myth. My mom was calling herself Mary.
I'm glad that you met your dad, though, and that.
No, I'm glad I got to meet him.
So
he's a good guy.
Interesting question there. Like, I guess you thought another guy was your dad,
yes.
Right? So you had a dad growing up in your mind,
no,
right?
Well, yeah, in my mind, there was this guy that I used to.
Was still not in.
Yeah.
So either way, you were an abandoned kid.
Yeah, I guess.
So, yeah.
But I had like a stepdad that was not very a good parent. Like he wasn't less.
Right.
He needed to watch our show. That's what he needed, and not hit women because he was a piece of shit. But no, he
needs to grow.
I grew up, in an abusive house and stuff, and so he was a drunk fucking gambler, like you name it, he probably did it. So that's that was, I guess, my father figure for a minute, but like it was always my mom. But the guy that I used to think was my dad, you know, in my mind, you know, for my whole life up until, I don't know, 27, 28, whenever my mom told me,
right,
that was in my mind who my dad was. But, you know, he didn't want to do nothing to me. I'm not going to.
Right.
You know, whatever. I don't want to do it with you. I got no time for that.
Your biological dad and having kind of a relationship with him now, do you think it's helping you process through things? Do you think you're different now knowing him than you would have been if you didn't know him? Or do you think at a certain age you just kind of are?
I think at a certain age I was already past, like, caring to know who my dad was. Because for me, you know, in my mind, I was like, okay, this guy was my dad. You know, it's been, you know, I'm 20, you know, at the time we'll say 27, 28.
Right.
You know, it's been over 20 years. I ain't never seen this guy, you know. You know, you know, and so I never had a second thought about that guy, you know.
Right.
So for me, my life was just like whatever.
Right.
So I think this part just it did bring stuff up where it's like, dude, wonder what it would have been like if I would have grown up with him in my life, knowing that this was my dad.
Right.
And I guess that's the stuff, like, I guess I never thought about when, like, Louis would say, well, how are you feeling? I feel fine. You know?
Yeah.
You don't feel upset or nothing? I'm like, no. But then when I do sit and think about it, and you're like, fuck, that kind of sucks, you know? Like,
but you didn't really have a frame of mind. You didn't have a reference point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I feel like if that's all you knew, then you kind of have to see what it would be like.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, in my mind, I got to think, you know, I think, you know, I mean, maybe my life would be different because my dad, you know, he seemed like he was a good dad to my sisters on the other end, you know, like he was in their lives. He raised one of the sisters pretty much. It's his stepdaughter, but he raised her.
Yeah. Do you think if he knew,
just weirdly blended,
he would have been?
I think so.
Like in your life, like he would have made the effort to be.
I think I like to say so.
I'm pretty sure he seems like a good guy.
I think he would. I don't think he would have been like, nah, man.
Sorry.
you're my only son. I don't think so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right. If anything, I should have got special privileges being the only child. No, I'm just kidding.
But it does. I mean, so when you had kids and you became the dad, and you knew what it was like to be in that, did that bring up anything? Did that make you feel any different?
Me becoming a parent was more like, I'm not going to do the things I've seen in my life to my kids. So
it didn't make you reflect on it in a way that made you feel worse for what you missed. You just took it as an opportunity to change it and do
I took it in that aspect where I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know, nothing I can do about it. Let's move on.
Right.
I just want to be a good parent to my kids, which, you know, I think I have been.
Yeah,
obviously, as men,
and things, but
I know as a man, I know that there's times for me, I'm like, I fucking suck as a parent, or I failed my kid, or my kid's dealing with this because I was a dick, you know, because there was a time in my period in my life where, like, transitioning into being a step parent, it was really it was tough to figure out, like, oh God, how do I parent? I'm still learning to parent. Now I got to parent other
fully grown children.
Yeah. You know, like, like these kids are, you know, now they're in their preteens and teens, and it's like, holy shit, I don't know how to deal with that. And then obviously Alicia was still, you know, she's learning, you know, she's been a parent already, but you know, not thinking about it. It's her first time dealing with kids in that same age group. But she's, you know, she had more time to prep.
Well, they were her kids.
Yeah, they were her kids.
I mean, these weren't your kids at that point.
No.
They are now, but at that time didn't even know them, like who they really were.
So as a parent, you know, when you do mess up or you do, like, think you're doing the right thing, and then you realize maybe that wasn't the right choice,
right?
You know, because I think we all do that, like, where we think, okay, I'm not going to do this because my parents did this, so the choice I make, I'm going to do, you know, I'm going to do the opposite of that. Yeah. And you realize, maybe I should have done that.
Oops. Well, and even when you have, I mean, like, I had, you know, it sounds like a jerk thing to say, but I had great parents. They gave us everything that we needed.
But I think that's what makes it work is like you might have had you and I have different upbringing.
Right.
And so I think that's what makes this work.
But that's the thing that's, you know, interesting about it is as great a parents as I had, and they did everything right. Like, I have nothing I can criticize or complain about, but you do find, like, they're still not you. I mean, like, I don't do things the same way that they did.
Yeah, for sure.
And, you know, it's interesting because just, you can't really, because when you marry somebody, they're different.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, you got to find that, like,
and I think I did find I think the toughest thing for Blanca and I, so if anybody is in a newer relationship and you're kind of getting to that point where it's a real relationship and not just the infatuation stage of a relationship, the hardest part when you start getting serious with somebody and you feel like it's going somewhere, like, we were pretty committed pretty quick.
But, well, I think that's how me and Alicia were too.
I mean, like, we kind of jumped in. But we had very different upbringings and backgrounds.
Yeah.
Racially, socioeconomically, just family structure wise, everything about it. It was like two different worlds.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of tend to try to go with what you know.
Which is, you do.
Right. And which is, commending you for knowing what you didn't want and breaking that. Because that's kind of a scary thing, I think, for people to try to branch out and do something different that you maybe haven't observed the same. Or it's a hard thing to think, because I know how much I kind of fell back to what I knew as normal, right?
Yeah.
And her too. And that caused a lot of conflict.
Which it does, especially if you're not talking, or because sometimes you're not even knowing that.
Well, you don't even realize that you're doing it. It's just normal. Like, this is how you do things.
This is what I do.
All those little tiny things, in life and living with. And we bought a house pretty much right away.
Yeah.
I mean, we met in March, and by that following December, we owned a house, and we're moving in together.
In April, just a month later.
We had a house. Now, if we had the credit, we would have had one earlier, but we had to build some credit for one.
No, I've been there.
But it's, I mean, it's like, it's interesting the amount of work you have to put into kind of building that. But over years, you do kind of mesh those things together.
And it did take I grew up in like I said, I had a stepdad. I had this, I had siblings. I were step siblings. Mm-hmm. And, that upbringing was, that was different. But my mom, I think that's where I looked at being a step parent, because my mom was very good with the kids. Mm-hmm. She was, she treated them like her kids. At least in my eyes, that's how it looked.
Whether they were her biological kids or not.
Like my stepsister, me and her really close in age, like within a year. I'm older, I think. Mm-hmm. But she really looked at my mom like her mom. So my mom, because that's how my mom treated him.
Right.
So I think that's where I got my step parenting, maybe. Right. But like you said, like, you fall back to stuff So some of the stuff I did, I'm sure I learned that from my mom.
Right.
Without, subconsciously, that's what I learned.
Yeah.
Which we've spoke on, how subconsciously you learn things and you might not pick those up until later on. But like I found, I wouldn't know I'm doing something wrong till, maybe I get upset with my daughter when it's not her fault, because I need to hear both sides of the story. And that's something like Alicia was really good at helping me learn, because that's where my fault was as a parent, was like, I can't get on this other kid because it's not my kid. Mm-hmm. So let me get on my daughter.
Kind of the social, there's like a whole social order thing, right? And you have to have that confidence in the relationship. And at that point, you only have that through the experience of it working.
Yeah, and it took years. Like, not that I was like this, pussy or something, like, where like, I'm not going to talk. Obviously I'd say stuff I need to. Right. And that's how I'm still that way. I think
everybody's kind of guilty of that. If you have relationships that work, then that's because you have been cautious at times, and you've tried to make decisions, to continue that relationship. So
if you're in like a blended house, it's just all about communication. And I think for parents, if you're the parent of, or the parent, whatever parent you are in that, like, you just need to talk to each other. Like, I think that's probably the biggest thing, because your parenting style is never going to be the same.
And you can get some pretty big feelings. I mean, like, it's a tough thing sometimes to navigate that relationship.
Yeah.
And, I know that there's been times Blanca gets Mama Bear.
I was going to say, like, Alicia's the same way. Like, it's like, hey, don't you yell at my kid.
But she does it with Elena and Elliot the same. I mean, and Elliot's my biological son. Elena's not my biological daughter. She's my daughter. But, but there's a different level there. When you're not biologically responsible for this child, the right is a little bit different.
You need to hold back, I think.
You can. And I've been allowed to be a parent. Like, that's been a nice thing. Blanca has been there, but with both the kids. And that's where I feel okay about it. She does it with Elliot too.
See, that's...
If she if I am going to critique the kids, she's going to throw it back at me because she can't handle her kids being critiqued by anyone but her.
No, I think that's a mom thing.
It's a mom thing. So,
any guys out there listening, I don't know if your mom. I don't know if your wives or girlfriends or whatever
or
do
your
this.
mom.
Or your mom. But yeah, Alicia will do the same thing where it's like, you know, my son's messing up. And so I'm getting stern with him. But then she's like, hey, don't you talk to my son that way? I'm like, wait, that's our son. So, don't you talk to my kids that way? That's our kids. But she allows me to be a parent,
yes,
which makes it so much easier when like your other half is
supportive of that. Yeah,
they might see your mistakes and they might call you out on them, which sucks.
Yes, it
you
does.
know,
yeah.
But you know, as men, it's this because I can only say for men, you know, you have to be able to point their mistakes out too. So that took me a minute because at first, you know, when you want to point out your wife's mistakes, you're very on eggshells. You know what I mean?
Approach it, yeah,
because you could say it one way and then they take it the whole other way.
Their memories are just a lot better than ours.
Sharp.
So
like
the second
elephants.
you bring something up, you better be ready for the questioning of specifically when and where did this occur.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, I don't remember. I just know.
Well, I do. It was February 13th. It was raining. Then it started to snow.
You did before I did that. You know why I did that?
Yeah, your underwear ripped.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Farted, and it was gross, and you're disgusting, and you're a worthless piece.
And then you grounded the kids for it.
I mean, no, we're not abused.
No, we're not.
But no, I mean,
I think we can make jokes about it. We know our women are we got good women.
Well, I can't compete with her that way. I'm not going to recall the details of anything. I can know that this has happened, but beyond that, vague.
No, that's where.
You know?
So you have the cool advantage of you can just be like, roll it back, throw the flag out. I want to replay.
She's the one that goes back to that.
You should carry a red flag around.
I know, I should.
And just throw it out. Instant replay. I need to read it.
I know.
The coach's challenge.
Well, they do a commercial like about that. But it doesn't, it's not for a home security system. But that's really all we have it for, is so that we can go back and be like, and she's found several times that she was actually wrong. And I've been wrong.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I think it's funny, though, to be able to do that.
Know, I mean, yeah.
But no, as a parent, though, it's like, I don't know. You got to work through that stuff. And it's tough. And being like a guy, being a man, like, I don't know. I'm very hard on myself. So when I fuck up as a parent, sometimes like, and that's something I think Alicia is really helping with, is I don't dwell on it.
Right.
Because I start thinking like I start overthinking, right? Okay, now, you know, maybe my kid's struggling with, so, you know, my daughter was struggling with some mental health issues a while back. Was it about a year ago or 2 years ago?
About a year, I think. Yeah.
A little over a year. And so for me, you know, you don't expect your kids to go through that, even though, because you think you're doing a good job as a parent. Yeah. Obviously, you don't know what they're dealing with. But then, you know, I start overthinking like, oh, you know what it was? This was probably during this short period of time where I was being like, I didn't know how to be a parent, you know, because I'm new into this relationship. And now I'm like a little more hard on my daughter. I'm like, I fucked her up. It's my fault. Yeah. You know, you start blaming yourself when, you know, in reality, it's not your fault. And, you know, maybe some of it is.
That's kids growing up.
Maybe some of it is like, you know, you didn't help your kid deal with their emotions a certain way.
But, you know, you can always play the what if game.
But it's not going to do nothing for you.
Everybody's a human being that's learning and figuring stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, you think that you become a parent and suddenly you know everything. It's a day-by-day progression of learning stuff. Like when you first have a kid, it's this little baby that you have to feed and clothe and change, right?
Yeah.
And you love it and all that. But like that's the extent of your relationship. You say, I love you and stuff, and they don't say it back.
And you squeeze it.
And yeah, right. And as that kid gets older and you have more and more experiences, new bits and pieces of personality and things come into it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have time to grow within that. But at no point do you know going into any particular scenario exactly what the right answer is.
You aren't.
Because that kid's different than any other kid.
Yeah.
That kid's different than you. That kid's different than their brother or sister or their cousin. Kids perceive things differently. They react to things differently. They need things in a different way.
Yeah.
There's no way to do the perfect right thing for any human being.
They're all different.
The time.
Yeah, we got so many different little personalities in our house, and so it's just like, okay, I can't. And that's something I found out is I can't talk to like Elena the same as I can probably talk to, Ziana, right? Or
because they hear it differently, they're going to react to it differently.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some of them are going to say something back to you, which now you have to figure out how you're going to deal with that.
Right.
That's something for me I'm gonna work on because my one daughter is very outspoken. Which I love about her. Right. Which is also very frustrating sometimes, right?
Because it has to be done respectfully. You do have to respect your parents, so yeah. And
so there's always something to say. So it's always like that's an issue where it's like for me, it's like there's this level of respect where I think that's where I have to like try to figure out, okay, what would Jesus do? No,
don't kill this child. Don't kill this child.
But like you think like, okay, this is tough,
right?
So it really helps you reflect on yourself because I know there was a minute there where I guess it seemed like I was always on on Ziana about stuff like, why are you doing this? What's it? But then I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. Like I don't want her to think that I'm just picking on her.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, I got to learn. This is her personality. This is who cares about.
So you kind of take.
And I don't like to say who cares because that always sounds fucking mean. I don't mean like that.
No, but I know what you mean. Like, I don't let go of the small stuff.
Yeah. You know what? That they're gonna do that
because if you have to bring something up to her and it's going to be a fight, then make the fight worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like the small stuff, like getting into the bacon stuff or doing that stuff, making little experiments, like doing stuff like that. Like she just does that, and I love that, and I don't want to discourage it. Yeah. And so it's like, instead of like bickering about like, okay, why isn't this clean? Why don't you do that? Like, okay, it's just, hey, I just need this clean. If it gets clean, it gets clean. If it don't, whatever, we'll talk about it later. But so I start, for me, I was like, okay, I need to not feel like I'm picking on her. So I'm like, okay, I got to do this. This is how we have to talk to her with discipline. But then with Elena, it's more of a fine tune because she's a little emotional, right? And so she deals with her stuff. She doesn't tell you,
right?
One's going to tell you what's up. The other one's not going to say shit to you,
right?
So it's like, okay,
gotta
get these out.
It's been a challenge with her with the homework because it's like there's such a fine line. I don't want her to be overwhelmed by it and to take it too personally, but at the same time, she has to be accountable.
Well, there's ownership.
Yeah, and so we found out that there was a big assignment that was due. We called you about it.
Yeah, which I knew about.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing is I've seen this thing, but if they don't tell you, like, I'm a teacher, and for parents out there, when your kids get to a certain age, you have to trust them because unless you're emailing the teacher every night to get updated information on what's going on.
See, I don't want to be that parent.
Well, and that's not realistic and that's not practical, but
and that's not teaching them anything.
If the kid doesn't tell you what some of these things are, you just kind of have to trust them. Oh, that's not due yet, or we're working on that in class. And then all of a sudden there's a 0 out of 100 points and their grade goes from an A to an F. And you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And her reaction was to act really angry and like to put her hand. And I'm like, honey,
she does this.
You and I need to talk. Like, you need to look at me and we need to work this out. It's okay to feel upset. It's okay to feel angry or sad. But we need to take that and turn it into action and fix it.
Yeah.
And like, we're not here because we don't care or we want you to suffer. We're here because we love you and this stuff is important.
Yeah.
So we're going to get through the feelings and then we're going to get it done.
Yeah. Sounds almost like a conversation I had with her before where it's like,
but it's hard to know. It's hard to know. Like, are you really feeling this? Are you, there's a part of me that knows that she doesn't like to do the work sometimes. 100%. And it's like, so where are we? Is this like you really are struggling or is this
laziness
tactic.
Well, no, I think
it's
there's a sense.
Both,
your kids get lazy. Mm-hmm. We're doing that with not only with Elena, but like Ziana's in high school, so she's having
and it's challenging because it matters in high school.
It does matter, and we're really trying to get off the "Where's your homework? Why are you doing it?" Like that's how we were last year. Mm-hmm. Homework, do it now. Do this. Where's your homework? Why you got an F? What are you doing? Every day. And so she was frustrated, which I can get.
Right.
So, and then like we had said a few podcasts back, we gave her the opportunity to work it on, okay, it's on you. The ball's in your court. With what you do with it, that's on you too. Mm-hmm. Right. But we're going to monitor if you get your grades start failing, there's going to be consequences. Now you got to do your homework upstairs.
Right.
Sorry. Oh, still not working out. Phone. Shut off the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. Right. That's the next step kind of thing. And so grades had been slipping, but we had a conversation with her and things seem to be getting better.
Good.
She might not be coming upstairs to do her homework, but like you could see she's trying. Mm-hmm. Like I said, my thing is more, I know the teachers aren't going to get to grading late homework instantly.
Right.
So my thing is the percentage going up? That's always my thing. And that's why I told Elena the same thing. And I said the same thing, the emotional thing, because she will start scratching her hands or she'll like grab her, like, because she's frustrated. And I was like, I get that you're upset. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't beat yourself up over this. Like, this is nothing we can't get past. We just need you to kind of step it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to take responsibility and you got to do your work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm here to help you. I go, Tom and your mom and Alicia, we're all here to help you.
Yeah. Well, knowing that kids at that age don't always know the process, like the task can then feel like, I do know the part I understand from her. It is a very uncomfortable part of she had to make a song and give it to somebody. That's a very personal thing. I can understand that, but I explained to her, okay, you're worried about it getting played in front of the class. If you do the work, I can email your teacher and say, hey, she did it. She is very anxious about the idea of other people hearing
and that's what I was going to do.
So please don't play it, whatever the case. And, sometimes you have to suck it up. Like as far as giving a presentation, there's a reason kids have to present things in front of groups. Like you have to give them those experiences. The musical side, that's very personal. So I totally understood that.
Yeah, that's where I was at too.
The problem was the way she handled it of just not doing it. Like that's the part that can't happen.
Yeah,
you have to do the work.
It's funny you say that because
deal with the rest of it, but they don't always. The feelings I think were so overwhelming. That's the side I can empathize with. Yeah. Not saying it's okay, but then she didn't even know what to do because now you
shut down after you feel so some type of way. Then all of a sudden you just shut down, like just don't do it at all, and then you get overwhelmed with.
So then I tried to just take it step by step and say, okay, here's where we are. We're not lost.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we have to do. She's like, in the description, the teacher had said, use your notes from class and make at least 5 references to something that you learned. So I'm like, okay, really all he cares about, kiddo, is that you're being creative, having fun with it, and you're making something that shows that you learned something in class in a song form. Makes sense. It's a music class.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, let's look in. She's like, I didn't take notes. I didn't know that we had to. I'm like, okay, well, let's look in. And we found all these notes. And it wasn't her notes, but he had put all these links in that she could use that had information in it. So I'm like, okay, let's make a list of terms that we know. And it's like that little step by step. And then she didn't want us around for her actually putting it all together.
Of course.
Which I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. Like, it's embarrassing.
She knows where she's at now. And she can do
but sometimes you have to kind of get in the roadmap to follow, because just assuming that a 13-year-old kid's going to know how to dig themselves out of a hole, it's their responsibility to do it.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to have, some.
Yeah, you got to help. Give them a couple steps here and there.
So,
yeah. And that's what we try to do with like the math stuff. I don't know.
Right.
Being a parent sucks sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie. Like we've had to deal with this homework issue since.
Yeah.
This must be just, we're like hoping JJ's okay or Elena comes out of it in high school.
JJ does seem, barring any major change to his personality, I think he cares enough about making people happy.
He gets a little upset if he gets like he didn't write his name on a work and the teacher I forget. It's like a markdown or something.
Yeah.
He was not cool with that. I'm like, well, I mean, you need to write
your name. It is what it is. We don't take points for nothing.
Yeah, like so, like the points, like
yeah.
He's like, oh, I forgot to do that, and I'm like, well, you got to remember next time, dude.
Right.
He's like, where's my folder? Like in the morning, sometimes I'm like, where did you put your folder?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm like, well, we better go find it then.
Those little, because if there's no consequence at all, why would you learn?
Yeah.
That's the thing about all human behavior is if it hurts, you probably won't do it again.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not saying that you make that pain above the level of.
And we're not talking like sports related, you know.
No, we're just
in life in general,
if you
people.
Just every day you're packing the thing for your kid and they have no responsibility. Sometimes they just have to show up without the work and get the bad grade. And,
and I think that was a failure on us is, you know, that's probably what we did.
Right.
We would put the thing in his bag, or just like with like Elena, or like with the other kids, it's like we're constantly telling them about their homework. So eventually they just, well, they didn't say nothing, so I shouldn't do it.
Right. Well, I think as an adult too, we always have that fear. What will other people think? You know, other adults, like if it's, you know, what the teacher's going to think we're bad parents if they don't have it. You're in a rush. You have to get to work. You have to do. There's a lot of factors in that, but where you can, if you have the time to let the kid kind of suffer through it and figure it out on their own, if you do everything for your kid, you're not helping them, because
they're going to be just
they're going to be skillless. Yeah. I mean, the reality is they are not going to know how to survive a world that does not care if they make it or not. When you're an adult and on your own,
it's a lot different.
The world does not care about you or your problems. It just doesn't.
No,
because it doesn't revolve around you. It doesn't revolve around any individual.
We had that conversation with Sadia, and I think I've mentioned this before, but like back when she was in high school and she was going through some stuff early in high school, like I had a conversation basically with her. I'm like, one day life's gonna smack you in the face.
Yep.
And it's gonna be eye opening, pretty much. Like you need like an. Because I'll be the first to admit about the homework stuff. Homework's stupid. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's pointless to a sense.
Right.
And it's annoying. School sucks. I'm not going to ever not say that, because that'd be lying.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something you got. You know. You got to do it.
Right.
But it was just one of those things where I was being really honest in the sense of like, no, like life doesn't give a fuck. Basically, like. It's going to slap you in your face. It's going to hit you. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
You got dust. You got to still do it. We've told like Ziana with, she's like, well, when I'm working, I'm like, well, when you're working, you still get homework. I'm 42 years old and I still get assignments from my boss that I have to do. And
due dates. And
do I get them done on time? Not always.
Right.
Do I procrastinate? Yes. There's certain things where I fuck up, you know, still
when I'm working. Well, you got to get the job first. And the way you get the job is having these documents in place that says you're employable. Sorry, kids. Like, if you don't graduate high school, the amount of jobs that you qualify for is significantly reduced.
It is.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to learn how to do the work now. And I agree with you. Homework for the sake of homework is the dumbest thing. There's no reason for it. Purposeful, meaningful homework that's done to better the child's understanding and give them practice time,
I get that.
is not.
Yeah.
And like
that's where I was at. Like,
to me, it's more, and I think we've said this before, the practical side of learning to deal with crap that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And becoming disciplined enough to get through that.
Like, how are you going to deal with
strategies?
That?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and different people can do it differently. If you're a procrastinator that gets it done and you work well under pressure, that's not a bad thing as long as you manage it and everything works out.
That's me.
But if you aren't that way, if you're a procrastinator that just doesn't ever get to it, then there's skills that have to be learned.
Yeah.
And the perfect time to learn it is when you're a student, not when you're an adult with 3 kids and a mortgage.
I know.
Shit. I mean, seriously, like,
speaking of mortgage,
it's gonna hurt. Sometimes life hits you.
Yeah. But, wait a minute. What's today?
No. Anyway, it's just, I mean,
no.
But kids, they don't care. They don't get it. They won't get it until they're older and they start to have life kick them around a little bit.
Well, so it's funny because you talk about, I don't know if you ever did it, but for me, I was always like, I can't wait till I'm out of school. Like,
oh yeah,
I can't wait till I'm a grown up.
It's gonna be so great when I'm
gonna have ice cream and cake all day. You know, I'm just kidding. I was thinking that yesterday. But like you go and you think like it's just this grand thing to be an adult, and it's amazing.
It is nice.
There's awesome things. But do I miss the simplicity of being a kid? 100%.
Well,
I miss
when
that.
You're not the one that has.
I don't
to
have
think
fucking responsibilities.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing is like I learned that after college. This interesting lesson of because I've kind of lived in the academic world for a very long time, and even though you have to put effort in and you have to work hard and stuff, every step of the way is handed to you. It's a given. You finish a class, you get online, you register for the next set of classes, you get into those classes, you take those classes, you get the best grades you can, and then you do that again, repeat.
Rinse,
right?
Rinse and repeat. Yeah, that's college for you.
It takes a lot of work, it takes skills and things, but I had a very privileged upbringing. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were very middle class. Don't get me wrong. It's not like we were wealthy. We lived in a small house and all that, but it was a nice life.
Small 5,000 square foot house. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish.
No, I'm just kidding.
It was a very modest house.
No, it was.
It was nice, and my parent, we never really did without. We didn't have,
and that's what you want as a parent.
But we had what we needed. But I didn't ever struggle through. My struggles were very internal, mental, not like bad mental, but just stuff kids go through.
Yeah, for sure.
The insecurity of who you are in this world and all that kind of stuff. And just this assumption. And I think this is the idea of privilege. It's kind of a real thing. I don't think it really helps anyone because as someone that would be considered a privileged person, the problem I ran into was privilege doesn't help you in the long run because I did not know at first what to do when life didn't just work out the way you thought it was supposed to.
Yeah, that's always the tough part.
I had this mental image in my head, like literally just this idea. You go to school, you graduate. It wasn't an option for me about not
and a job
going to
just
college.
Falls on your lap.
At that time, my dad did not have that upbringing. So he very much you're going to go to college. My mom, education was a big thing for her. So it was never a question. I just knew my parents expected me to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to overthink that. That's my next step. Well, you go to college, then you find somebody, you're going to get married after that. You get a job and you just live out sort of this life that you're supposed to live. I never really put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah,
it's just, that's the way it works. That's how life is.
Yeah.
Came out to an economy that sucked and I had no confidence to sell myself. I'm better now probably, but at that time I had no skills in selling myself. I didn't really want to talk to people.
I get it.
Put myself out there to fail. It was the first time in my life I was like, oh my God, I don't have a job. And
what the fuck am I doing now?
I had a girlfriend all through college. We did not end up getting married. Everything sort of fell apart from that. Was the first time in my life where what I was doing veered completely off of what was supposed to happen.
Wrong turn.
First, and I was tired of school. I had been through school. I didn't want to go back to school, but I couldn't find a job. I was living with my parents. I was basically just super depressed.
Yeah.
And it was shitty. It was really shitty. But over a period of time, you just kind of figure out you have to do something. You can't just I ended up on the path that got me to where I am today, and hopefully it wouldn't happen that way again. But it was amazing just that.
Well, that's life. It's never like this. It's always
But that's the thing is
I'm going up and down, people.
Those of you just listening, we're moving our hands up and down. But for kids, I think one of the benefits, this is probably going to sound like a very privileged thing to say, but one of the benefits of not having a privileged upbringing is that for the kids that have at least enough support or that tenacity in themselves to make it work, they have such a benefit in the long run of having seen a world that doesn't just lend itself to you.
Yeah.
And I don't think it knocks them down as hard when they've already built the experience to deal with that.
True.
It doesn't mean that it means being a privileged thing is not it's worse to be. No, that's not what I mean.
Well, and I've always talked to you because we both have had, like you've said, you've had a more privileged life than I have.
Right.
But I always bring back like the things you struggled with. Yeah, we're not the same when people look at it on the surface.
Right.
Like, well, he only had to deal with having no Cheetos in the house or something stupid.
He always had Cheetos.
You know what I mean? Well, no, we always had those bitches.
Crunchy and puffy Cheetos, but I'm kidding. But
like, the way we dealt with things mentally or anything emotionally, like, that doesn't change.
Right.
Like,
people know patterns and people learn from patterns. So
your struggles and my struggles completely different. Some can consider it harder than others, but that mental aspect of how to deal with it probably is very similar.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Like if someone was to hold, like a brain test, you would see that those brain waves and that shit was probably pretty similar in the sense of like, what the fuck, because I mean, after high school, I didn't know what to do after high school. I wasn't told to go to college. I barely told to go to school, like my mom obviously expected me to go to school and stuff, but there was never this do your homework, there was never none of that. And so it was just like, once after school, I was like, well, I ain't going back to school. Fuck that. I'm not going to college, which I didn't. And so I skated through life for many years, like, I went to Job Corps, and then that's, I met Blanca and stuff. And then even after that, like, I'm still like, okay, I know I need to do something. So that's Job Corps kind of helped in that sense, like made me realize, okay, I think I'm in my 20s now. Like I can't just work at Arby's.
Right.
I can't
start getting responsibilities that are outside of yourself.
So I started, doing that, trying to figure things out. And when I'd work at these places, I was adding more responsibility because I knew I wanted to be better, because you do want better for yourself, even if you've had that privileged upbringing. Right. Just internally, you want better. You just don't know how to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And so, like, for me, it was that same fear, like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life? And then for me, I ended up going back to school because because a hardship happened. And so then I just went to school.
Right.
And then doing that, it got me into, like, now I'm in IT, and I've been doing that since, late in life though, like 28 or something is when I started doing that. And I barely got my bachelor's.
It's never too late.
In my 30s. And so
never too late.
It is never too late. And that was my thing, was I wanted to show my kids, my stepkids too, like, look, I'm in my 30s and I'm going to school, but I'm working. Right. So there was, 2, 3 in the morning, I'm doing homework and shit, Right. But it's that fear of, like, just what the fuck do I do next? And, you can't, it's hard to teach your kids that fear.
Right.
Well,
and our kids, I mean, we have very privileged kids.
We do. Super.
Mean, they've had, my kids have more than I had, and I had a great privileged upbringing.
I feel the same way.
But it's like, as a parent, it's hard to deny your kids.
It is. Because like you just said, your kids have things that you didn't have.
Right.
And, like, my kids have things I didn't have, but it's like things, and I could be doing it like, I'm doing this because I didn't have that, so I'm going to give you that.
Well, right. I mean, that's the thing. And I think kind of the point I was trying to get to earlier and never did. Like, my parents did things differently than we did.
Yeah.
They saved a lot of money. So we went without because my parents had bigger plans, and they were very smart economically with what they did. We have kind of, I took that and kind of did the wrong thing with it. We've just been kind of spending money.
Yeah.
And after we've had a year that's been more rough, we had a lot of kind of economic factors hit at once, and we've been able to get through it pretty well, but still, and like, we need to regroup and reassess and change the way we've been living, and maybe not put so much into, like, fun things for the house and all this great stuff to live. We need to start stocking some of that away and planning for the next time things don't go super well.
It's hard though.
but I mean, like, the kids, they have every video game system they want. We have a pool table. We've got a pool in the yard now. We've got all this great stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end too, I mean, sometimes that is, like, on that mental health side, like, what are you trying to fill? Like, what is the hole that you're trying to fill up with all
what's
this
that void
stuff? And I know for me, a lot of it is, as a kid, not feeling like the smartest kid or the best kid. I wasn't athletic. I wasn't like brilliant. I wasn't anything special. That mediocrity, that feeling like you're just this mediocre person that doesn't matter.
I had that same feeling.
Right. I think most of us do.
Yeah.
Even very successful people. I think, and I could be wrong, I'm not an expert in this, but just
you are today.
It seems like a commonality in all people is the need to like be something in the world or be meaningful. And for me, I know there's a lot of, as much as I don't like to be showy or like be sort of like, I don't know, like I don't want to be the center point of a room. Yeah. Like there is that internal need to show that I'm good enough and that
in that social aspect,
and that like I'm worth it, and I've like, you know, look what I've
built.
So in all honesty, I think like I've done all this stuff for that, and you look at it sometimes and it's like, this is insane.
Well, I
we haven't overdone it, but it's just like.
I think that's the thing, though. We look at where we're at in life, and we sometimes forget, goddamn, you forget where you came from or what you dealt with. Because when you, like, I know for me, like, I don't really take into account where I don't forget where I came from, but at the same time, I don't think about it. So sometimes I don't sit there and appreciate what I have. I have a house. I have like
thing, right? It's not quite good enough yet. We need to do this next. We need this next. We need
instead of just like taking a step back and just looking at, damn, dude, I just built. Look at, I got this beautiful family. I got this beautiful home. You know, it maybe it's not perfect for me to my standard yet, where I need to have the nicest kitchen or
stuff. I mean, the luck of just having a house,
exactly.
Period. And I had gratitude for that before. Like the first house we bought did, was
but I don't
so
ever
insane.
Think about it. You know,
it was so insane to me though to be able to buy a house when we did it. Like that moment, I had so much pride in our first house because I'm like, how are we doing this? Like, how are we even affording this? And it was a nice house. It was old.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was older, but it was a good sized house. It had a big basement and everything, and
big old basement.
It was a huge old basement. But I was very much like just like it was more than I ever thought I would have.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we live in a house that's way bigger and looks a lot nicer, but I don't have that same feeling. And I love our house. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it's like the pride level, I take it for granted now.
Exactly.
Like I've gotten to the point where, and actually I was going to get into this because tying that back into school, a big thing after the pandemic, our state at least, has pushed SEL, they call social emotional learning. So we have new standards in it that we try to teach our kids. We are like purposefully teaching kids social skills, whereas it used to be sort of an implied thing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's still a lot of it is built in throughout the day, but every month we have a certain skill that we teach our kids. So like for us in elementary school, we started with responsibility was the first month.
Yeah.
And then respect. And now it's gratitude.
That's cool.
And gratitude, I mean, you think about it, it's not just please and thank you. It's recognizing like a mental outlook of taking everything that you have. And I'm horrible at this. Like taking everything you have and being grateful that you have it.
I'm thankful that I got the roof over my head.
I mean, you just think like there are so many countries around the world where people have nothing. And in our own country, there are so many people that have nothing.
And we bitch about, I don't want to eat that.
Well, right. I mean, like my biggest issue is trying to avoid eating too much food. Like that's my biggest problem is trying
There's people who don't get no food.
There's people that don't have, they're addicted to drugs, and food is like the third important thing on their list. And they're on the streets and they're falling apart. And like, there are some people that live on the streets that have the most gratitude out of anyone you'll ever meet.
Well, yeah. They don't
outlook on life is so different. And I do think sometimes the bills and the responsibility is kind of a compounding problem. We get our lives so complicated with stuff that then it doesn't help our happiness. I'm not unhappy, but I mean, like, you look at things and it's like, I need to be more appreciative of, I'm teaching this to my kids, but do I do this?
Do you practice it? Yeah.
Because some days you just wake up in a bad mood or like,
you do,
but like that mindset, the mental mindset is something that has to be like, it'll do so much more for you and make it so much easier if you can learn to just appreciate everything.
And have a more positive thought process.
I mean, because if you don't, you're not really addressing any problems. You're just kind of stewing over.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of funny you say that because like with my job, I like what I do. I might not necessarily like I sometimes hate my job, right?
Right.
But I've been having to take this different approach to it. Like, okay, if I'm not going to change it, I need to learn to love it, right? Mm-hmm. So I need to appreciate the fact that I have this job. I'm grateful that I, you know, which I am, but I need to like really drill that in my own head instead of like, oh God, I got to work. Mm-hmm. I got to be. I hear people are like, oh, I work at home. They're like, oh, that's got to be awesome. Right. And I'm like, and I don't think about it. I'm more of like, ugh, not really.
Yeah.
But I guess it is kind of awesome, like in a sense, you know. Right. And so being more grateful in that approach is
it's that mental attitude about it. I mean, you really
it just really changes your approach to work.
Well, because think about your internal dialogue. I mean, if every moment you're just saying this sucks, this is awful, that becomes your reality. It is going to suck. It is going to be awful because all you're focusing on is all the bad. And it's easy to focus on the bad.
It's easy. It's the best.
But in anything, I mean, like,
it's not the best.
I've talked to my kids because, you know, they're my students, they're first graders. There's a lot of boring shit you're going to hear throughout the day. I don't say that to them, but I say, I get it. Like, you might not want to learn what a verb is or an adjective. And like, but guess what? You can make yourself interested in almost anything. And I know because it took me years to do it, but I can do it. I can take the most boring thing and make myself get interested in it, because once you've heard enough that you start to understand something, then you can get into that feeling of accomplishment, and that can push you into a lot.
Yeah.
And I just have taught them, and we as a building, we push it, just the idea of having a growth mindset, not being stagnant, not being okay with not knowing something, like understanding that your mind can grow and learn, and wanting that. Yeah. And you have to make a choice. Nobody can make it for you.
You got to do it yourself.
You have to choose.
We were just telling one of the girls that, like, you got to want more for yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's not just going to happen for you.
It's like we love you. We see the potential you have. We know you can do it. It's just you need to want that same thing, and trying to instill that into their heads, like that whole growth aspect. Like, you got to want it. You know.
Yep.
And I tell Elena too, like, for her, she loves drawing. I'm like, don't stop doing that. Like, I think that's awesome. Don't do it in school.
Right. There's a time and
pay
a place.
attention.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like,
this is your job, and that's your love.
If you love doing this, like, I wish I would have had that, where someone like pushed that, like something, because I think I would have been somewhere else in my career, right? Like, I don't know if I'd be doing IT. I'd probably be doing something. I don't know if I would have maybe had that little bit of a push instead of trying to figure things out, which, you know, you still got to learn to figure it out. I'm not saying that I need someone to hand me something, but
no, I know what you mean.
Just being kind of like, okay, hey, you love doing this. Let's focus on that love, because you can probably make some shit out of that.
Marketable skills are surrounding that. You know, like, there's a lot of things. Maybe you need to take business classes because you love to, like, somebody makes pottery or something.
Yeah.
Shit,
well,
right?
Ziana, she loves doing arts, and she wants to make that a career.
Okay. So then what marketable?
Well, that's we had a conversation exactly like that.
You don't have to go to college, but if you do, you know, what degree will actually help you turn that into something that makes money? Because some people do great. Like, you can be a famous artist and you can make tons of money that you can support yourself by painting but most of us won't.
Yeah.
But you can still be in that. You can still do that, or at least do a part of that.
Yeah, you can build a business around that.
Around it. Yeah. And you can still deal with the thing that you love all the time. So you got to be kind of open-minded as a kid to that. And we also have to realize it's not this linear step-by-step life that any of us have. Like, some people call it God, some people call it luck, whatever it is.
Divine intervention.
Your life is going to happen in whatever way it does.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that are out of your control. And I think it's, you know, me personally, I like to have a plan and have an idea of where I'm going, but you have to be careful to keep that flexibility to not let it knock you down when it doesn't go there.
Yeah,
to be able to keep moving with it.
Yeah. That's
to have gratitude.
Have gratitude, motherfuckers. No, I'm just playing. But no, that kind of brings up something I was gonna bring up, actually. It had to deal with kids. Hold on one second. Let me bring it up. This is more for little boys. This is an emotional side thing. But you know, this actually can go for boys or girls.
I think it can.
It was saying perhaps if tearful little boys weren't confronted instead of shame, there wouldn't be so many like angry men struggling to emphasize with emotions. And I think that can go with any kid, though.
Well, it can. I mean, I think there's pressure put on girls and there's pressure put on boys, and the pressures are different.
There is,
but I think they're equal. I think really, if you look at the issues we have in adults,
like stop crying.
Well, right.
What are you crying
we've
for?
been pretty, the super woke stuff of today gets to be a little much, and I think a lot of us that didn't grow up with that are like, come on, like stop complaining, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of truth to sort of, I think it's a lot better to encourage boys to talk and to deal with feelings, and it's a lot better for little girls not to be put in a certain box of how they're supposed to behave. And it's like, and I think a lot of it isn't intentional. It's just sort of the norm.
Yeah.
And I think it's better. Like, I do think our generation pushes our boys to talk more than our generation did, or than my great grandfather was kicked out of his house at 13. And
go build you a house, goddammit.
No, I mean, really, it was that time. It was all, you worked on farms and you lived the best you could, and your kids, if you couldn't afford them, as soon as they can, they're out the door. He was 13 years old, and I mean, I never knew him, but I've heard mixed stories. He was a loving man on some sides, and he was a very hard man on some sides. Well, if you're kicked out of the house at 13 and made
to make you a little tough,
you're gonna toughen up, because the world is gonna eat you alive if you don't.
Yeah.
So he is a product of everything he had to do to survive. And it's like, that's most people. You look at who they are. Well, they're that way because they were surviving whatever they had to survive. It's
always like, don't show emotion. Don't do this. You got to be tough about it.
Right.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. And there's truth to that. I mean,
there is
at
some
the end
truth.
of the day, that's the reality.
But I think as a kid, and you hear that, most kids are going to be very literal into this. How do they handle that?
But if you
now I can't cry at all.
Teach someone, or if there's consequences for showing your emotion, you're going to learn not to.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know many men that are great at their emotions.
I suck at it.
I thought I was great at it. I thought I was like a
savant.
I thought I was just like all in touch with my feelings and stuff. It was all bullshit.
Oh yeah,
I was good at pretending like I was. I'm still not. I can watch something sad and not cry.
Yeah, because see, that's the thing. I could totally do the same, but then there's just these weird moments that make me want to cry. But I'm like, and I do the little eye thing. I'm like,
I think I told this story.
No tears coming out of here.
I had so in high school, we thought my dad was going to die. Mm-hmm. We thought he had lung cancer. And it was pretty much like by the time he went in, they found a mass in his lung.
Yeah.
And they told him, like, you're going to die. like now, like pretty much.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got the results back that it wasn't cancer. He wasn't going to die. And this is right around the 9/11 time.
Okay.
And so I dealt with that. I didn't cry. I wasn't really upset. I think there was a lot of just rejection of that information that he's going to be fine.
You were more scared than anything, probably.
I wasn't anything. I was just like, it's like it wasn't real. It was real.
You were.
But my emotional side was just shut off. It was like intellectually I knew it, and it was sad and it wasn't good. But emotionally, it wasn't anything at that point.
Yeah.
I'm on the internet at whatever it was back in 2001. And like, I don't know if I was doing homework or what, but I came across somehow something that said, it was something about 9/11 and the terrorists flying into the buildings and how could God let something like this happen? And then it said, it was some religious thing. I don't know how I came across it, but it goes something to the effect of God held those pilots in his arms and God held all the people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that he let this happen. It was that this is what was happening. And he was there for everyone that was hurting.
Yeah.
And something about that
just got
the I mean, I was like bawling.
Well, it was
those feelings of my dad.
I was just saying, it's like the delayed emotional response.
Yeah, it was like the weirdest things. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing to be bawling about.
Well, I think that's what
it was 9/11 for everybody. It was kind of a traumatizing thing.
Yeah.
It changed our entire world. I was at that point a high school kid, and
I
thought my dad was going to die. It's like
in my 20s by then.
All of that hits you at once, and that's where a lot of men deal with it in anger. your sadness is anger. So men have, I do too. To this day, I still have it.
I do.
You get these like irrational blow-ups. Well, it's the pressure release valve. You're letting go of those.
I'm very good at, well, not very good, but I've gotten better. I'm the type of guy that is like any other guy where you just kind of bottle it in. You suck it in. If I'm getting bitched at about stuff, I'm not saying from my wife, but just even my boss or just something, I eat it. All right, whatever. Yeah, I'm a little pissed off. Whatever, fuck you.
But you kind of bury it in that spot.
I just keep burying it. No, just tuck it away, whatever. And then a song comes on or a fucking stupid movie comes on and shows like Slumberland. Like for whatever reason, some of the stuff just really hit me where it's just like, I wanted to cry. But I think it's just, like you said, that release valve. Something needs to give. Right. We need to get this out. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like,
God damn it, I need to throw something against the wall.
Son of a bitch, where's my dog? No, I'm just kidding. I do got a story about the dog after this, but no, like for me, it was just like, you know, I started burying my feelings and drinking or doing drunk.
That movie, Slumberland, it dealt with that.
Well, I think that's why it resonated with me, is because the way they dealt with it is like how I deal with shit. Like it just buried away. Like eventually, I think I'll forget about it. You know, things happen in my life growing up, and I don't think I've ever actually dealt with it. Right, full on, like actually, like let's get this out in the open. Let's talk about it. Let's just bury it. Because eventually it'll just go away.
Well, do you remember?
But does it ever go away?
Do you remember the scene where the uncle, the counselor at the school, is talking to him about feelings, and he goes, "You know, well, everybody always says that we need to deal with it, that we need to work through it." He's like, "But do we? I mean, like, really, does it actually help?"
I laugh so hard at that part.
Like, and there is some validity to it. If you cross over from dealing with it to dwelling on it, that's not helpful.
No, exactly.
You know, I mean, like there are people that just trauma or whatever, they just relive it over and over and over again. And they don't grow from it to a point where they can find more happiness. And he's right in that sense. No, you're just dwelling on something.
I've, you know, and I can't speak for Tom, but I dwell on stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, earlier in the podcast, as a parent, you know, I dwell on what ifs, but you know, obviously that's something I'm learning and I've gotten better at. It's not dwelling on like, oh God, because that's just eats me,
right?
You know, like, you know, like just gets to me until there's no help there. So I don't know. Don't always bury that shit is what I'm trying to tell people.
Yeah,
don't bury it deep. It's not okay, but
deal with it and then move on. Right?
Yeah. It's hard to like sometimes, you know, obviously big traumas there's, you know, there's counseling and stuff. And I can't say anything. I've never seen a counselor. I've never seen a therapist. And who's to say one day I will or will not. But I see why that is very helpful, because it's like, you know, I had this thing I was thinking about the other day, and I don't know if it's the music been listening to, but I was in an emo state of mind, I think. But I was like, God, you know, like, are we truly like alone? You know, like sometimes I feel like I actually feel alone, right? Like, does anybody actually know me? Am I actually like myself to everyone? Or is there stuff about me that I just keep to myself because I don't want anybody to think a certain type of way? You know, I don't have no one to talk to about this stuff. And then I was like, I can see why people go to counseling, because maybe you can't feel comfortable talking to your significant other about certain things, or you can't feel this way. I could have been stoned and I was having one of those thoughts.
I've gone enough. I mean, I haven't gone a ton, but I've gone to a few different therapists at a few different times. And the thing that most interests me is, like, in the movies always show it like you're being psychoanalyzed, right? It's not really like that. You talk about things, but it's really about problem solving. And it's really about, like, okay, these are skills that you don't have because nobody teaches you these things. So, like, all right, here's some articles about how to process this or that, or like a behavioral modification thing or whatever. And like, you really are just learning how to do things differently than the way that you're programmed to do them.
Yeah.
Because all of us, our experiences craft the way our brains deal with things, and you make these neural pathways in your brain. And then our brain doesn't like to waste energy, so you just fall into these routines and patterns. So you have to put energy into changing those routines and patterns, but you need to know how to do that. So really a therapist in the modern sense is listening to what your problems are and saying, here are resources to learn a new way to do those things.
Just how to guide yourself through it.
Right. And so it's like, it's not so much like they're going to tell you how getting like,
so if I just Google,
you know what I mean? Like, it's more just about them being an outsider that can look at what you're saying and hear what
sometimes that's all you need.
Because often we're not honest with ourselves. We don't know. We're so wrapped up in the feelings of it that we don't know what we're really saying.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So they're more just hearing it and then giving you resources to figure it out.
Sometimes you need that ear to kind of like, analyze, like, oh, here, let's try this and that.
Right.
So I can
exactly.
see that.
So
that's just like when you're talking to your person.
Yeah, it's like having a coach, like a life coach in a way of just like helping you deal with things that
one day I'll go.
But it's expensive. I mean, the reality of it is no matter where you go, it's expensive. And it's not the biggest barrier to mental health is the fact that if you have insurance, that's great. And you can go to a therapist with insurance. If you don't, I mean, even for some of the more affordable options, it's not accessible to everyone. I mean, if you're not, here we go with privilege again, but if you're not privileged enough to have enough income, there's a barrier there.
I believe
there just is a barrier there. So
not that I'm like, me and my wife are doing pretty decent, but I don't feel like that's in my budget.
But do you have $100 a week?
No, I'm good.
I mean, and it should be a priority, but if you're living paycheck to paycheck as it is, you can't afford that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's the sad thing. Culturally, we don't value mental health enough because if we did, it would be accessible to everybody.
I don't know. I'm glad I'm seeing that it's being more out there.
It's going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction.
Definitely.
I just hope eventually there's going to be something out there that kind of helps with it. And I'm sure there is programs that can help pay for certain things. And maybe I'll research that just to see if I could throw that out there. Because I honestly don't know. And I'm not, like I said.
There's a lot to know about it. People need to know. If it is available, it needs to be out there. Especially, we're going into the holiday season. And sadly, there's more suicides during this time of year. We talked about veering off of the path. Well, holidays really point out if there are things not going right in your life, it is the time you're going to see it. If you're struggling with money, you're not going to be able to afford the food for dinners. If it is you split up with your partner
or someone passed away around that time of life,
you're going to miss that person. If you can't have your kids with you, you're going to miss your kids. If you have a substance abuse problem, those feelings are going to compound that. There are so many things that it's supposed to be such a wonderful time, but if your life doesn't match up with the image that you had, it's going to be a really hard time. And so for anybody that is going to struggle with that, people care.
People do care. I don't know how many times I've said this and we've said it on here, is like, seriously, I would love for someone to reach out if they needed just to chat, even a text or something, just because I know it's hard to find someone to really talk to sometimes. And that's where I was going with that, is like, sometimes I just, I know I have people to talk to, but like, I remember I was just thinking like, damn, do people know me? Do I need, maybe I can talk to just a stranger just to like throw a feeling out there, because maybe you just can't tell your person.
Well, and life ebbs and flows. I mean, you have great times and you have bad times, and both of those are going to come. You have great times in your future, and sadly, you have hard times in your future. We all do, but it's like we said earlier, it's never too late.
It isn't.
If the second you stop something that's hurting you and start something that makes life better.
Yeah, like if you're drinking and stuff, you got to cut it out. If so if it's a problem and stuff, because that'll fuck up other aspects of life. Not to say that
that's easily doable.
It's not.
It's going to work first time, but
I still I'm trying not to drink as much, which I don't drink as much anymore. So I feel so much better. But I still have those thoughts of like, damn, I want to be a little drunk right now. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, last night I had more wine than I usually do. I didn't get out of control, but I mean, I had enough.
Well, the other night I had a couple bars,
and it's like I don't do that often. Where there was a time where I wasn't. I'm going to be careful to say I wasn't an alcoholic. It wasn't like I had to do it, but I enjoyed drinking, and I drank too much. I drank every day, some.
Oh, I was in
and it just got to the point where it's like, okay, this isn't healthy. Long term, you can't do this. And luckily, in the mix of everything else, I stopped that. And now every once in a while I'll have drinks, and every once in a while I'll have more than I should, but
which
not frequently, and not to the point of like serious, like where you really shouldn't be doing that. So
I gotcha.
I'm much happier with where I'm at now. And you do, if you can figure it out, then you do appreciate things more. I enjoyed the wine I was drinking. Instead of it just being something I do, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Wine sounds good, actually. At 9:30 in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not an alcoholic.
Well, the sad thing is, there are a lot of people that are. And, cautionary tale with alcohol. I'm not an anti-alcohol person at all. I think it's a great part of life. I enjoy it. But sadly, there are a lot of people that their chemistry can't handle it, and it becomes a problem.
Oh, no. I think there was a point where when I was drinking too much, it would put me in a bad mental state of mind, especially when I drink too much, where I like was blacking out. Like I was,
and it compounds issues.
I was like hating myself, and like I said, you heard me. But I was, I hated on myself and did all this self-loathing bullshit, and like that's probably not okay.
Well, right. It's like it by engaging in it, then it makes you feel bad about it, and then it makes it just it can like when you drink alcohol, you have to be really careful that it's benefiting your life on a social level and not becoming a hindrance to life. And man, when people try to kick it, there are a few drugs that will kill you when you get off of them. Alcohol is a monster. People cannot. If you are a serious heroin addict,
same.
You go to detox, you're done with heroin.
Well, they give you heroin, in detox. They
give you the methadone, right,
or whatever it is.
But you can kick those drugs without a chemical substance, right? Alcohol, you can't.
Yeah,
you can't go cold turkey. If you are a serious alcoholic, you can die.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With heroin, it's like if you just kick it. If you were like a heavy user, like it'll kill you if you just kick it cold turkey. So that you have to have like this.
I didn't know that about opiates. I thought you could just quit. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I know heroin. I think heroin's different. Where like this person's so addicted, if they stop. I was watching the show. Like it's going to kill them if we have to give this person like this. It was an intervention show. They have to give this person this. Pretty much they're giving them heroin, small doses.
The methadone,
just so their body has that until they basically slowly like get it out of their system.
I didn't know that about the opiates. I thought alcohol was the only one, but I do know we take. I guess my main point would be then alcohol seems safe because most people do it. It doesn't seem like heroin or and it's not. Don't get me wrong.
It's legal too, though. That's the thing.
But if you become addicted to it and it's a true, serious level addiction, it is a monster.
Oh, it's destroyed families. Boy, it destroyed my family.
So you just got to be careful.
Not my when I was growing up family.
Yeah. So and here we are. We're guys that used to sit here with whiskey glasses.
And, and I can't say that won't happen again. No, obviously,
okay.
We still drink.
It's just you got to be smart,
moderate,
about it and
moderation.
If it's not helping you, it's hurting you, right? So
yep.
Yeah, you got to live. You got to enjoy life.
But. All right. Well, I don't know. I think we're good.
I talked everything I was going to. So
there was something I was going to bring up. I think it was with my dogs. Maybe I'll end on this light note. I have a boxer and a pug. Mm-hmm. Best of buddies. Huge different in sizes.
Yeah.
Right? They're both feisty with each other. Rex is my boxer. He's very gentle with the pug. Sometimes you'll see him throw him around like a wreck. But last night, they're sitting there and they're playing around, and there's a squeaky toy by. And then all of a sudden, Rex grabs the pug, and you hear like the squeaky toy. I'm like, Rex, be careful with him.
Yeah.
It sounds, and he kept messing with him, it kept hitting the squeaky toy. So it sounds like
the pug is making the noise. But
yeah. So it kept sounding like Rex was making the pug sound like a little squeaky toy. God, it was the funniest thing. I was cracking up.
Dogs are fun.
They're fun. They're annoying and fun.
They're awful when it comes to, like, if you want to just relax, a dog is not great. But
no, these two dogs, when they're with each other, yeah. Anyway, that's another story. But anyway, you guys have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving out there. If again, don't get too sad.
Who knows? We might slip up and do a mini Thanksgiving episode. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah. Have a safe day. We'll talk to you guys later. And I think this is the right one. It is, baby.